Welcome back, everybody, to some more Grand Tactician, the Civil War. And a lot of things to cover since the last episode, and I'll kind of talk through those before we get into any action today. First thing is I want to get caught up on the first couple of folks who reached out to me with their unit choices. And first comes from Keith Cripe, who has been a supporter for the last couple of months. And he requested that we make a brigade that hails from Indiana. Call it the Last Centurions, a reference to a John Ringo novel. Give them green uniforms and whatever rifles you can, and he wants them to serve under Sherman. He said, if possible, but put the lads where they're needed most. Well, we can definitely make that happen. Sherman's 5th Division here under Grant in the Army of Tennessee. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's see, we've definitely got enough men to put an Indiana unit into the field with green jackets. And we can go green trousers too if we want. We'll just go full green there. Let's take a look at some of these other guys. Yeah, we'll go with that guy there. All right, so let's go ahead and recruit that unit. It'll take a while for him to get into the field, but that is actually now the new 1st Brigade in that unit. Do we already have a 1st Brigade? Yeah, we do. Well, it's okay because we're going to rename them anyway. So let's go ahead and get them renamed. I don't know if the Last Centurions will work. We probably have to go with last to make it fit. There you go, Keith. The next one is going to be for Jim O'Hare, who has been a supporter of this channel for actually several years now, going all the way back to the beginnings of my channel when I pretty much just played Ultimate General Civil War. So, Jim, I am proud to create your Ohio unit for you with red. And I think he said blue pants, but let me double check that. Yeah, red jackets, blue pants, and call them the Jaeger Brigade. And so these are going to be some Germans coming in from Ohio to fight. Let's take a look at the two different reds. Kind of like that red there. And the darker blue pants. That's pretty sweet looking. Now let's look at the different uniforms and see if there's a better one. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. So we're going to add them to the Army of the Mississippi, which is the one I'm trying to reconstitute right now. And the first thing we're going to do is obviously we need to replace the commander because John Pope, some of you were asking what happened. Well, I had actually sent, well, let's go ahead and replace him, and then I'll explain what happened. Let's look. Oh, we got George Thomas, the Rock of Chickamauga. Yes, please. Let's get him in there. He did, I don't remember which army he commanded. It was one of the 3 armies in the West that he eventually took command of. I think he replaced Rosecrans. It may have been the Army of the Mississippi. But anyway, so do we have to... There's Abner Doubleday. I didn't put George Thomas in charge of that brigade, did I? Because that certainly wasn't my intention. Okay, I guess not. Anyway, 1st Brigade... Let's go ahead and rename them. Now, he said Jager, but I think German Jaeger is spelled like this. And it means hunter. It's German for hunter. And I'm most proud to do that for you, Jim. So there we have that. So let's talk about what happened. What happened was, and this actually happened off screen, so you guys didn't see it. I had sent the Army of the Mississippi down from Cairo, Illinois here to hit this Fort Thompson garrison. And they initially had some success at New Madrid. They actually captured a Confederate division that surrendered. But then they got into another division that they fought and just got decimated for some reason. And I have no idea why. It wasn't a battle I could control since it wasn't between 2 armies. Those battles auto-resolve. So I wasn't able to do anything about it. But he limped from that battle across over to Nashville, and that's where we find him now with 13,000 disabled men. So we're going to be parking him there for quite a while hopefully some of those men are able to recover. We get some supply. Probably going to need to build a supply. Now it looks like we have a supply depot there, but right now they're at 11% supplies. Maybe we need to upgrade this supply depot. So let's go ahead and unpause slowly for now. So we need to build that army up. We are going to continue to slowly push the Army of the Potomac forward. So one of the things that many of you have correctly observed and that I've kind of alluded to in the last couple of videos, is that this game is causing me to rethink how I act as a commander. I'm so used to doing things the ultimate general Civil War way, which is where you can micromanage your brigades, constantly worrying about their facing and kind of turning them here and there and moving them. I can't do that on this game, and I like that I can't do that, because this game is much more putting me in the role of an army commander, which means I need to think much more strategically and not so much tactically, micromanaging things on the field. So what I need to do is I really need to, somebody said, you need to do this like chess. And you're absolutely right. This is like a chess game. I need to be thinking 3 and 4 moves ahead. I can't just be constantly reacting to every little thing that happens on the field. So I've got to think about those things ahead of time. I've also got to watch my orders, because I think part of what's happening is because everybody was set, for example, to take initiative, the commanders were sometimes doing things I didn't want them to do because I allowed them to take initiative. The other thing is I usually default have all of my units set to automatically use cover and high ground, which means sometimes they don't form a solid battle line. Certain units will advance and fall back and adjust to take that cover and high ground when I don't want them necessarily to do that. Once again, he's trying to hit Andrew Foote in the Mississippi River Squadron, and we are just turning him back over and over and over again. So well done. Holy cow, how many times is this going to happen? Well done to my Navy for continuing to fight him and make sure that he can't get upriver. All right, we've got one more unit to create, and this one's going to be for Nelson. Many of you know Nelson from the channel. He's one of our most active viewers, and he's also one of the mods over on Discord. And Nelson wants there to be a artillery unit called the Nelson Redcoat Brigade with all red uniforms. So we're going to go ahead and make that happen. And I believe I remember Nelson telling me he was from Florida, but obviously we can't do that. So let's see who's got a lot of available manpower, and it looks like New York. So, and actually they're defaulting to red, which is kind of funny. We're going to go with an artillery unit, all red. There you go. It's going to look interesting on the battlefield when we get into combat. But let's go ahead and recruit that unit. I think if we go with a horse artillery, yeah, it's about the same. Okay. Let's go ahead and recruit that, and then we'll go ahead and name it for you. It'll take a little time for that to get into the field. So there you go, Nelson. The Nelson Redcoats Artillery Battalion. They are set to join the Army of the Mississippi. We're going to continue to start adding units to that army to get it built back up to strength. Hopefully we see John Pope replaced with somebody who's more capable. Boy, they just don't know when to quit going after the Mississippi River Squadron, do they? We've got to get some troops down here, because it looks like right now the Confederates actually hold Cairo, and we don't want that to be the case. So I've got to work on things like that. And we do have an army over here. Is this the Army of the Southwest? No, it's the Fort Wyman garrison, so that won't help. We do have an Army of the Southwest over here, and I think we're going to go ahead and send them to at least see what the Army of the West is made of. Let's see what they can do. It's going to take a little while for those orders to reach them. We're going to have to start laying some telegraph lines so orders reach a little faster. Okay, this is getting kind of annoying. We're going to have to completely destroy the squadron so that they don't keep hitting us like that. All right, so for the first time, we get to assign a perk in the midst of these continued attacks. Our Mississippi River Squadron is able to be upgraded. So let's take a look now and see. They can get torpedoes 1. Mortar boats 1, supply colliers 1, balloon barge, limelights, which I guess would allow us to attack at night better, blockading squadron, sea raiders, amphibious attack, blockade busters, battery runner, port defender. I feel like I would like to go with torpedoes 1. So let's go ahead and add that as an upgrade. And let's see exactly what it does, because I'm having a little trouble getting it to actually pop up and tell me what that means. So let's take a look at Captain Andrew Foote's Mississippi River Squadron, which is winning so many victories over and over again. You can see the number of notifications I have on the left, and they're almost all from that, but they're slowly wearing down. that Confederate flotilla, which is going to disappear before too long because we're starting to sink their ships. But here's what it has right now. It's got 2 timber-clad gunboats, the Conestoga and the Lexington, along with the cotton-clad ram Lancaster and the Cincinnati, which is an ironclad gunboat, as well as the Essex, the Louisville, and the Pittsburgh. So let's go ahead and add to that fleet. And I'm going to go ahead and add some more, let's see, ironclad gunboats, I think, are the way to go. So we're going to build the USS Allegheny. And we're going to add that, and I think eventually they'll just automatically join. Is typically how that works. I want to look at the others because you do have the option to upgrade some of these ships. I don't know what exactly we can do to upgrade it. It looks like maybe there's nothing we can do to upgrade that particular one. So let's look at some of the others and see if there are upgrades that are possible. Maybe we have to be in port to do that. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything I can do. Let's add one more ironclad gunboat. The USS Ares. So we'll reinforce him a little bit because he's doing quite well down here. Okay, so we are going to be fighting with the Army of the Southwest. This is going to be fought on the Pea Ridge battlefield, which, again, I mentioned this earlier, but I'll mention it again for those who may be new to the series. This game is in beta, the version that I'm playing right now. This is not even the early release version that will be available to everyone on August 21st. One of the changes that will be made is that you will have dynamic, unique battlefields. Right now, everything's being fought on existing battlefields like Pea Ridge, Manassas, Shiloh, etc. So here we are in Arkansas. We're facing the Army of the West under the command of Earl Van Dorn, who has 18,000 men and 49 guns. I don't know exactly what I have, but I feel like I don't have nearly that many men in this army. Let's look at our strength report. Wow, yeah. So we've got just 10,000 men. He's got 5,000 cavalry. So we are a little outmatched, and it feels like that maybe the better part of wisdom here is to retreat. But let's go ahead and at least build ourselves a defensive position and see if we can hold against the Confederates. So I don't really know this battlefield that well, but let's go ahead and tell the commander we're definitely going to have to use cover wherever possible, but I'm not necessarily going to go after using high ground, and I definitely don't want him to use initiative. Oh man, I just don't know this battlefield at all, and I can't zoom in to see it. I don't think. There we go. Let's get in here and look at this battlefield. I confess I don't know enough about Pea Ridge to be able to understand fully where I want to be, but it feels like over here, this high ground right here looks really good to try and make a stand, especially against an army that's got a ton of cavalry. So let's go ahead and place ourselves there. Colonel Jefferson C. Davis, the guy with the most unfortunate name among all the Union generals. Now, the only problem is, of course, if he attacks me from up here at 12 Corners Church, I'm going to have a problem. But let's go ahead and get another division in here and try to get them. It takes a little bit of getting used to how this all works. Okay, I think I've got the setup that I want. And this all, of course, assumes that he attacks from this way, which we don't know that he is. But we can see that he's down here. So I'm going to just hope that he comes right up this way and then he finds me here and that I can at least make a stand outnumbered almost 2-1. Let's see what happens. Okay, here they come. And it looks like our plan may be working. Now, he might hit me a little further to my right than I would like. I'm thinking maybe I should have probably built right along this area here. But I don't think I could go quite that far to the left, or to the right. So unfortunately, I may have a situation here where if he doesn't attack me a little further this way, I might not be set up exactly where I want to be. Yeah, we know Little Mountain's lost. That's okay. Here they come. Our artillery should be opening up by now. I'm surprised they're not. These are only 6-pounders. What are you waiting on, guys? They're in range. I hope it's not because they can't see because of all the trees. Might not be the ideal location for artillery. Yeah, they've got fire at will orders. All right, so I'm going to order my leftmost division to come over here and redeploy on the right. Now, somebody mentioned, hey, the reason they're not obeying orders is because when you give an order, you have to click the confirm button. You don't actually have to do that. You can click the X button to cancel the order, but the orders will be carried out even if you don't hit that confirm button. So it looks like he's going to, oh, look at that. As soon as I shift these guys over, what does he do? He starts shifting this way. Oh, you dirty rascal. And I can't really get... All right. I should have just left them exactly where they were. These poor guys. That was smart. And I think what he's doing is he's going for this other objective over here, the Elkhorn Tavern. That's Sterling Price there. Looks like he was starting to head that way, and then he changed his mind. These guys are just going to pass right in front of me, and they're not actually going to attack me. That's pretty smart. He's just going for the victory points. And you know what? Honestly, if that's what happens and I never engage him, I'm content with that. Because I'm so heavily outnumbered, I'd rather not sacrifice my army. I mainly just wanted to see what his strength was. And now I know what it is, and I know I need more men. All right, so at the end of the day, we went ahead and withdrew. It's a minor federal defeat, but we didn't lose any men, and that's the main thing. We kept the army intact. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add a brigade to each division of the Army of the Southwest. Let's get them the manpower that they need to be able to win over control out there. And it looks like we don't have quite... Oh, we could recruit an Iowa regiment. I think that'll help. So we're going to add 2 brigades for now. We'll add 1 brigade to each of these 2 divisions. Franz Siegel and Alexander Asboth's divisions. That'll give them an additional 6,000 men or so. I think that ought to be enough if we play our cards right. So we're going to pull the Army of the Southwest back to Carrollton for now. We're going to have to take a look at policies now because I feel like we're going to start getting low on manpower in some places if we don't do something. So I think we've got bounties 1, recruitment bounties. Enrollment Act 1, I believe that's probably going to be the first draft, and we're a little early on that. I'd really prefer not to go there just yet. U.S. colored troops might be a good way to go, though. Nothing's popping up when I try to click on things. So I guess we're just going to go ahead and do U.S. colored troops. We have a couple of available policies to us. I think we also probably need to do a little more for funding because we're running into a lot of debt. You can see right now $159 million in debt. Historically, the U.S. national debt at the end of the war, I think the expenditures of the war were something like $2.6 billion. So we're far from that, but I think we'll probably get there by the time it's over. All right, we've got a Confederate unit that's marching up out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and heading into eastern Kentucky. So it's the Army of East Tennessee. I don't know how big the army is, but that concerns me. I do have a division here under George Morgan that could confront them, and if the Army of East Tennessee gets a little closer, they're going to probably move to engage. But since that's just a division and not an army, I'm not likely to be able to control that directly. Now, Jackson, looks like Stonewall Jackson has moved over to Grafton, Virginia. We've got the Mountain Department here. They've got about 6,000 men under John C. Fremont, who was the 1856 Republican nominee for president, the very first ever Republican nominee for president. He lost to James Buchanan. He historically commanded troops further west. I don't remember him ever being this far east. So we're going to have to probably keep an eye on things there. And I think we're going to go ahead and send this corps that previously took on Jackson, the 3rd Corps under Samuel Heintzelman. And we're going to have to go pursue Stonewall Jackson with Heintzelman's troops. This is going to be a tough march over the mountains in western Maryland and northern West Virginia. But we'll go ahead and move them up. We'll move the 1st Corps down to Winchester. We want to hold Winchester. Winchester was the most fought over piece of real estate anywhere, with the exception maybe of the other parts of northern Virginia. Okay, what happened here? The Battle of the Atlantic has ended with Rowan's command retreating. The engagement was honorable, with my sailors inflicting heavy losses on the enemy before being forced under the weight of their numbers. One have been sunk. The condition of the enemy fleet is believed to be intact. The condition of my fleet is barely afloat. Ouch. All right, let's take a look at Rowan's squadron. Was that the... No, that was the Atlantic. So let's take a look at... Click on the military, go to fleets, and find Rowan's men and see what that's all about. There's Samuel DuPont, David Farragut, Andrew Foote, Wyman, David Porter. There's Rowan. Wow. So he basically was pretty... Oh, he was only one ship. That might have something to do with it. And we're going to have to add some of these ships that are in harbor to his command. Okay, back to what's happening here in the Eastern Theater. Third Corps is going to pursue Jackson. First Corps is going to come down here to Winchester and take over there. And I don't think I actually confirmed that order. So let's go ahead and get them down there. They're part of the Army of the Potomac. We've got the 5th Corps, the 2nd Corps, and the 4th Corps, all of the Army of the Potomac here right now. We're going to sit tight in Northern Virginia for now, though it looks like, for the most part, I don't know where Lee's army is. Well, it wouldn't be Lee at this point. It'd be Johnston's army. But at some point, we'll make our move south. But I first want to kind of secure some of these Confederate incursions before I do that. All right, 3rd Corps got there pretty fast because they went by rail. It only took them a couple of days. Jackson's Corps of the Army of Virginia is in contact with your 3rd Corps of the Army of the Potomac. Yeah, let's take on Jackson one more time in the field. See what happens. This one's going to probably be fought on the Manassas battlefield. We'll see what the numbers look like. I love these colorized photos. They're really neat. You see you got a Union captain right here on the ground wrestling with the guys. These are all officers. There's a major right there. Confederacy fields only 3,400 men under Jackson. We've got 20,000. So the one thing I'm concerned about is how low the numbers are for the Confederacy. They've got this huge army out west, but overall they've only got about 80,000 men in the field. Here in 1862, and I feel like they should probably have more than that. This, again, should be a pretty easy fight for me. So I'm going to go ahead and put my whole corps down here, all 3 divisions, and then we're just going to go ahead and start. I'm going to give Heinzelman orders just as a whole. We'll allow initiative for now until it becomes visible that that's not the way to go. Actually, we're going to move. Let's do it this way. Let's move this division up toward Island Ford right there. We'll put Hooker's division over here at New Market. And we'll take Hamilton's division a little further west, because any one of these divisions ought to be able to take Jackson on their own. And then we'll go ahead and move out. We see he's probably up here around the Unfinished Railroad or Matthews Hill. All right, Fitzjohn Porter arrived at his objective, so we're going to move him up to Lewis Ford. And then once the other divisions are in place, we'll start moving them forward as well. It looks like the most likely place that we'll encounter him is going to be somewhere between Matthews Hill and Henry Hill. And if you've ever been to the Bull Run battlefield, there's a pretty substantial valley down in between those hills, and that's the area that the Union came across. The first Battle of Bull Run, the Union made a feint right here against the Stone Bridge, but the majority of the Union Army did a flanking run around this way, came up Matthews Hill, and then down into that valley, and then back up against Henry Hill. And that's where Stonewall Jackson made his name. So it looks like Hooker's division is in place, so let's go ahead and start moving up to Henry Hill, and we'll put them there. We'll go ahead and move Fitzjohn Porter up to the Stone Bridge. And again, you can see I don't have to click the check mark to get the orders to actually start being followed. I just have to do nothing. And eventually, I can click the check mark and make it happen faster. All right, we're already at the end of the day. That took the better part of the day. We can actually reform now if we want to. Okay, we've got everybody in position for day 2. It's still storming. Let's go ahead and start advancing. I'm just going to do all of this by divisions. Hey, there's Dan Sickles. He's got a brigade under Hooker. We'll take Charles Hamilton's division over this way. Go ahead and speed this up a little bit. As you can see, a full campaign is going to take a long time. I mean, we're on episode 3, and we've gotten barely through a month of the Civil War, and each one of these episodes has been the better part of an hour long. So plan on this being something that takes a lot of your time. And there's a lot of kinks that need to be worked out still. Occasionally, after exiting a battle, my game will freeze up and I'll have to restart. Little things like that. Some supply issues that I think they still need to work on. But man, if they get all these kinks worked out and they can get the Confederate AI to function somewhat well, this could be one of the best strategy games ever made. And I believe their plan is to actually make this Grand Tactician a series. So they are going to do other wars besides just the American Civil War. So those of you who have complained and said, oh, I'm so tired of the American Civil War, why can't they do Napoleonics or something? I believe those things are going to be in the works. And this seems like it would really lend itself well to a Napoleonic campaign, war theme. There's the Stonewall Brigade over here. So hopefully Randolph's going to bring his artillery right down in front of them. So I'm going to have to give Hamilton some new orders. Hopefully that means Randolph won't go there anymore. But we'll leave that. We'll leave Hamilton's division to go right there. We'll go ahead and let Porter and Hooker's divisions get into place before we do anything else. The Randolph's battery's already there. They should be able to fire from there, and they are firing. Oh, no wonder. That's a tricky spot to be if you're artillery. And you can see they're tired because they've been moving and moving and moving, and I'm guessing that's the feud button. Somebody said they thought they were lungs, and I thought they were at first too. That's actually the feud button. And apparently Joseph Hooker must have some kind of an issue with his commander, Samuel Heintzelman. And that means he's taking his own initiative because he doesn't like his commanding officer. So that's obviously an issue that we're going to have to resolve in this corps. We can't have that continuing, because he's not going to take orders from me well if that's the case. All right, let's take a look and see what's happening over here. So there's the valley I was talking to you about between Henry Hill and Matthews Hill. So let's go ahead and get Hooker moving up this way. So that's actually Hamilton's men that are showing the feud. And I don't know if these, I'll have to take a look at it and see. I don't know if the feud is between these brigade commanders and their division commander, or if it's between the division commander and the corps commander. That's something we're going to have to figure out and take a look at once the battle's over. Now let's move Porter up, take Matthews Hill. Let's nail the Stonewall Brigade. He's the only brigade we've actually seen so far. And we're not nearly into range. Oh, what are these guys doing? Quit dropping back. For now, it's just the artillery firing on them. Let's take a look and see what the numbers look like. Confederacy's panicked, understandably so. So he's got 500 wounded, 150 missing. I have to believe those are pre-battle casualties that he came in with. And I still don't fully understand why those numbers show that way. All right, so now we're engaging the Stonewall Brigade. We're going to bring down Bernie's brigade. And they're going to get over on their flank. We're already taking some casualties, but that's okay. Once Bernie's brigade gets into position, Stonewall Brigade's going to be in a really tough situation. Have we contacted any other enemy? I haven't seen anything else. This is just the unfinished railroad here. And that was part of the second Bull Run battlefield, which was fought more along kind of a battle front here where the Confederates were in this line here along the unfinished railroad, and the Union was attacking from this way. This should go pretty well. We've got a battery firing on the Stonewall Brigade. We've got 2 brigades firing on him, hitting him in the flank. That can't be the only unit he's got. Oh yeah, you're in trouble now. Let me take a look and see what I can find out about intelligence. Nope. He's actually got quite a few brigades. Okay, what are these guys doing? The 2nd Brigade's backing up. Once again, taking initiative that I don't want him to take. But, let's see. No allow initiative. He might be going back to the cover of the trees because I think he still will have this unit in range. And I do allow him to take cover. It looks like that's what he's doing, is taking cover. Meanwhile, what else is going on? Let's go up and take the unfinished railroad. Hooker's still getting in place. What is this brigade? This is Hamilton's division. Really don't know what they're doing. Alright, let's speed this up. I can't believe Stonewall is going to stay there much longer. There he goes. He's trying to make a break for it. And we're going to let him, I guess. Okay. Let's back up. Let's tell Hamilton's division to get into place over here. Stonewall Brigade is broken. I would guess the rest of the army's up this way. Alright, Porter. Come up here. There's Hiram Berdan's sharpshooters. Very cool. They're over here in this division. I don't know what Hooker's doing. There we go. Alright, we're taking the roads. Oh yeah, there they are. They're falling back now to Sudley Church. I think they're just trying to get out of here. They engaged briefly, but they decided no thank you, not anymore. Alright, Heinzelman, take your whole corps right up here. The only problem is when you do corps orders, they stay in marching formation. You really have to do it by division if you want to get them into an actual battle formation. So we'll finish this battle up, and then we'll figure out what the deal is with that feud that's happening. All right, it took 4 days, but they finally withdrew all the way, and we won a major federal victory at the Battle of Manassas against a relatively small force under Jackson. It wasn't really Manassas. It's actually closer to Grafton, West Virginia. But it's a victory nonetheless, so let's see what else we can do in this particular episode today. Alright, so I've looked all over through Heinzelman's 3rd Corps, and I can't seem to find where the rivalry is. I don't see any indications of that, so I don't know if I'm just looking in the wrong place, but I don't appear to find it. I can see that David Birney is super famous, and he's politically assigned, so we're certainly not going to remove him. Hiram Berry's got a little bit of fame. George Randolph, who's the artillery commander, also has a great deal of fame. Hamilton himself has very little, but yeah, I don't see, I've looked all through the unit, commander history, all the way up through Heinzelman. I don't happen to see anywhere where the rivalry is, so I guess I'm just going to have to go with it for now. until we figure out how to deal with that. All right, we started moving the Army of the Potomac south, and the 5th Corps has run into Hill's Corps of the Army of Virginia, and it looks like they're doing so not too far from Charlottesville, while the rest of the Army of the Potomac moves down toward Fredericksburg. We're going to go ahead and auto-resolve this one for now. And it looks like we have a glorious victory at Chancellorsville. Hill's Corps fleeing in panic. The Battle of Chancellorsville ended with Hill's Corps retreating. The enemy reportedly suffered a total of 1,922 casualties, 0 killed and 0 captured, so they must have just fled. Our casualties were 48 men. Thank you, Nathaniel Banks, with the 5th Corps. So I mentioned this earlier, and one of the things I guess I'm curious about the game is I'm noticing the men fielded for the Confederacy keeps going down. They're down to just 63,000 men fielded anywhere across all theaters, and it seems to be going down. It was 80-some thousand at the beginning of this episode. Now, I don't know if that's just my intelligence telling me that and it's wrong, or if those are the accurate numbers, because if those are the accurate numbers, pretty soon he's going to have no army left at all. I can see Hill's Corps just fled to Richmond. And I feel like if I pressed even a little bit, I'll take Richmond with little trouble. And it shouldn't be that easy. See, now he's down to 60,000 men. So I don't know if something's broken in the game or what's happening there. But we'll kind of keep an eye on that and see what happens. Meanwhile, in the west, I think we're going to go ahead and move the Army of the Ohio on Memphis. No, actually, we'll move both of these armies, Tennessee and the Ohio, because the Army of the Mississippi is in Memphis right now. So we're going to start moving toward him. Meanwhile, I think the Army of the Mississippi should have enough men. They've still got 11,000 disabled, but they've got 14,000 ready for active duty now, and I think that's probably enough to move on Decatur, Alabama. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, Army of the Mississippi is moving by rail. They're going to be in Decatur before too long. The Ohio and Tennessee armies are just about into Memphis now. Let's go ahead and move the Army of the Ohio a little bit closer. They're kind of, you can see there, they're linked. And I don't know what those arrows mean exactly. Meanwhile, I'm moving the Army of the Potomac toward Richmond. And again, let me show you the numbers that we're showing for the Confederacy, because they just don't make a lot of sense to me. He's down to just 51,000, actually now almost only 50,000 men fielded. Now mine's going down as well. Mine's gone down by a good 20,000, so I guess that's just attrition. But now he's under 50,000. And if I just wait it out, he's pretty soon not going to have an army anymore. So I don't know what to make of all that. I've been reaching out to my fellow YouTubers who are also playing the game, and for the most part, it seems like a lot of them are just doing historic battles rather than playing the campaign. And I think I might understand why. It feels like there's a lot of work to do still on the campaign to make it work right. But maybe there's some things I'm just not understanding about it. But I'm going to wrap it up right there and continue. I'm playing. I have a second install of the game since you can't have multiple saves. Playing on another campaign just to kind of try to figure out some of this stuff. And I'll hopefully have some answers for you real soon. Those of you who follow this channel and you're waiting for other games, I am getting back to some of those things. More Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, more Age of Sail, more Hearts of Iron 4. They're all coming. I've just been really excited about this and trying to play every minute I have available in this game for now. But we're into April of 1862. We're just now hitting when historically the Battle of Shiloh happened, so we're well ahead of all that. But let me know your thoughts. Drop a like if you would. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.